Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, we got more parts to go along with our new M4 MacBook Air. This is an Almiuzi or Almiuzi. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's in the title, but it's a laptop cooling pad with what appears to be 5 stands and an iPhone holder. Not that I need one, but we'll take a look either way. You never know. It might be useful. Anyhow. So, this is a first look video, kind of like a first impression. No review yet. So, you know, we gotta see what it's like running the snot out of this thing for a couple of days. You know what I mean? Anyways, so we have a basic steps. 3 steps, 4 steps. Fan control. Tells us what model it is. Stand levels. Anti-slip baffles. Anti-slip baffles? Okay, sure. We have a little stand that pops out here to stop your laptop from flying away on you. And, of course, we have the different angles of adjustment. I'm probably going to leave this about here. Now, this, for the iPhone, comes right out the side. And I don't think we're going to use that because, well, there's no way to charge my phone at the same time, so... But, hey, if you're not charging your phone, it might be a good idea. But let's actually just sit the phone in there and see what it looks like. Now, I have an iPhone 15 with a case on it, so... Yeah, I'm thinking... Not really the best fit with a case on it. So, probably going to be useless unless you have a fan or a phone with no case. If you have a phone with no case, might just work for you. Otherwise, nope, not really. Alright, so I want this at pretty much, not quite bottomed out, but that's all the way at the bottom. So let's go about here with this. Alright, so we've got our fan control here. We've got 2 USB ports. Neither one of them are marked as to power or not. We have a double-ended USB-A cable. So, we're looking at a little over 2 feet long. About 2 feet long. Okay, so not very long. That means I have to dig out an extension. Alright. Now, I don't plug these things into my PC, or in this case, Mac. Mind you, this is Thunderbolt ports, so we can't. But I wouldn't suggest it anyways. I'd always suggest using a separate power supply. It would definitely be a better idea. Okay, so we're going to fish this back here. And I do have a USB charger here. Okay, and I have to get down below here. Alright, so if you want solid light, put them full blast. So they do draw in air from the bottom. Push it at the top. Not super strong, but you don't really need super strong, really. So, let's get our air like this. Now, one thing about the MacBook Air obviously is it doesn't have any cooling fans, hence air cooled by itself. Not even any real vents in the MacBook Air. However, we're going to let that sit and run for a minute because we have a resting temp right now at 32.1. So this is going to start to cool things down. We'll see if the temps drop at all. The idea is to control the overall temperature. Now, I've been doing a bit of testing already today with the Air, just to give you a little bit of a rough idea, because we're still on our first impression video of that, which some of you may have seen by now. As far as our temperatures go with video editing in H.264, 1080p 30 frames per second, our top temperature while exporting was only 35 degrees with a resting point of 32.4. And when we ran the compression program, which is Handbrake, which can get really nasty to your computer compressing a file, because it tends to fire up all those performance cores and really run the hell out of them. And I know I usually push about 87 degrees, even with the fan. It ramps up a little bit on my Mini. You'll never hear it, but it ramps it up a bit, and it stays around 87 to compress the same size of type of file. This thing here, without the cooling pad, of course, had a resting starting point of 32.6 degrees with no more than going 70 degrees Celsius max, okay? And that's without our cooling pad here. Now we're sitting at about 31.5 to 31.4, 31 and a half, kind of a little bit of fluctuation here and there. Now I'm using a program called Max Fan Speed Control, and with the MacBook Air, of course, like I said, no fans. However, we can still use temperature monitors. And of course, what we get to monitor on this one is the Power Manager die average, which we're assuming has to do with the M4 chip, because it's the only thing that makes sense to build that kind of heat. So that's where we're at. Because our only other options are the power supply proximity sensor, which no bearing on CPU. Same as battery gas gauge or the battery of the airport's proximity sensor. But the Power Manager die average temperature, that gives us, I would say, our CPUs in this case, at least with this program. I'm going to have to find a better program to monitor the cores. Because with a MacBook Air, like I said, no fans, which it doesn't show us performance cores and E-cores like this program will on my Mac Mini, okay, which is an M1. But on this, it gives us that. So that's what we're going with as far as that goes. And I played some games today too on the computer, and I got some averages. I'm going to write down the averages in the next couple of days of playing some more games. I've done Minecraft so far, a PC program that was converted with Paul the Tall Porting Toolkit, aka Skyrim Special Edition, and of course my motorbike game, which is a Mac game, which does run under Rosetta Translation. And I've seen where the temperatures were sitting at, give or take, but we're not going to talk about that on this video, obviously, okay? So we're at 31.1, 31.2, so I would say as of right this second, we need to give this thing more time. Now, one of the things that will also generate a little bit of heat are LEDs. And we do have a light-up keyboard, which we can actually control. I just gotta, that's my screen. Oh, how do we control the keypad on this one? That's one thing I never looked at. Sound, music. Can we even control the backlit? We should be able to. Keyboard. Keyboard brightness. Right to off. Okay, so that's it for keyboard brightness. It's off, so that'll help cool things down a little bit over time. So we'll see how well these fans actually do in the end. So definitely some testing ahead of us in the next day or two. This video, like the last one was edited on this computer. This one will be too, and following videos to come in future will all be done on this MacBook Air. So, but I'm curious to see, because I've seen some videos where they said that somewhere between a 20 and 30% increase in performance and better cooling, having a cooling pad under the MacBook Air. So we'll see how much truth there is to that and how much our temperatures change from what we currently have, because I did save my original files from our unboxing and first impression, and I can re-edit them precisely the same way for the same timeline, length, etc. And I'm going to rerun them with the cooling pad and see if there truly is a difference or not, because that will definitely put this one to bed. If there is a difference that's beneficial, then a cooling pad would be a good idea. If it's not going to be beneficial, then, well, it's hokum. So that's all there is to it. Anyways, so I do like the style of this. It does have a nice tall foot on it, so that it's going to keep your laptop in place. Taller laptops, you just got to be careful on that, how tall your laptop is. There's not many of these on the market that go really tall for bigger laptops, so you know it's going to be selective, and you may have to really look really in depth into these cooling pads depending on the kind of laptop you have. I have a different model for my Asus TUF 17-inch laptop. I could not get that same model again. We no longer can get it. But it's been working great all the time I've had it. It works fantastic for that laptop. Now it has cooling fans in the computer, but also those fans do push actually a little bit more air volume than these ones do. So we're going to see how that actually pans out too at the same time. Anyway, so as far as the USB ports go, does it actually say anything on here? Because I don't think that that's a lot of horsepower, to be honest. Built-in USB 2.0 ports, one Type C. Ports allow to connect another device, USB device, one. There's no USB-C port on that. Nope. No, I think the instructions are on something, because there's definitely no USB-C port. It's just two USB-A's. Where are they coming up with a USB-C? Just says built-in two USB 2.0 ports and one Type-C. Makes no USB power input port or USB extension. USB 2 is power input port or USB extension. Maybe extension to a USB-C. Anti-slip baffles. Non-slip baffle offer. Pad for the thick laptop. Prevents your laptop from sliding down and falling off. Rubber pads won't scratch or scuff your laptop. Stand levels. Phone stand. Yeah, 5 fans. 1500 RPM plus or minus 10%. DC 5 volts, got that. Half amp, well, we got a 2 amp power supply on there. So we're okay either way. But I don't know where they came up with the idea here of anything to do with USB-C, because there is nothing. No, I'm gonna call that a nope. Okay, as far as any of this anti-slippy stuff goes, that's just the pads down on the bottom. Okay. Holds good. No problems there. And sits pretty even. Alright. Well, my first impressions are it actually fits my laptop within almost 1/4 of an inch on each side, which that's nothing. That's fine. I got about the same on my 17-inch laptop on the other one. That would be useful if you didn't have to worry about a case on your phone. I have a case, so that's pointless. And there's not even enough depth in there to run a cable. So that's not going to work. So you can't charge your phone at the same time. Unless your phone's upside down. Well, that's different, I guess. And given the speed of these fans, just run it full blast. I don't know why they even put a speed dial on. Because as you lower the power of the fans, of course the LED's lower, and which is fine, but it's not like you're going to really see them at dark anyways. Not that well. It's not going to be like an overwhelming bright blue. Anyway, I think you can get these in different colored LEDs too. You'd have to check the Amazon ad for that. I'll check. I will put a link down below, by the way, for the Amazon link for this particular one, if you're interested in it before you see the review. But I am not going to give you anything other than I do think it's decently designed. Don't know where they come up with the Type-C thing here, but whatever. You can use either port to power the fans. It doesn't matter. And, you know, you can use the other one as a through port to your charger. If you have enough of a power supply, you could do that. So it would act like a loop. And that we can easily test, actually. What kind of time we're in? 17 minutes. We'll test that and we'll talk about it in the review. That sounds good to me. All right, so that's what I got. Wait for the review. I'll let you know if we can use that as a throughput. Pretty sure we can, though. But don't hold me to it. Give me a couple days. I'm going to fiddle-faddle with this thing, and we'll go from there. But I do like it so far, and the price was decent, so can't knock it there. Amazon, yay! All right, Amazon wins again. See you in the next one. Ciao.